Hello and welcome to another VRSpies Exposed podcast, episode 32 indeed. And tonight on the podcast we've got from the Spies team, we've got Billy, Pretty Neat VR, we've got Wayne, Immersive Gamer 83, and of course Don, God, for a second now I almost forgot, VR Gamer Dude. How could I forget?
Because I'm so damn forgettable, you know.
Not at all, Don, not at all.
That's because I haven't been here in weeks, and you know,
you're
so you miss a couple of weeks, and
yeah.
Your name.
Who are you? Who are you? And of course, we have here tonight Anders Malmgren from who is the dev on Virtual Warfighter, and we're going to be talking with him about Virtual Warfighter and various FPS stuff tonight. So, Don, what's on the agenda?
Well, obviously a nice discussion with Anders about Virtual Warfighter, fantastic new FPS for the HTC Vive, and you know we're going to kind of take FPS as a theme tonight, guys. I've never really done a themed show, but most of what we're going to talk about is FPS related. So we're going to talk a little bit about another FPS that launched for the Vive this week, Onward. I know everybody's been playing a lot of Onward this week. I'm going to talk about an SPS that, well, I guess if you can call it an FPS, and we'll get into that, for the Oculus Rift that launched this week called Damaged Core. And then Wayne's going to talk a little bit about locomotion options and how the traditional locomotion is coming back into the FPS genre for VR. And I got a chance to play a really cool FPS set in space this morning called Detached, and that hit early access on Steam, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then going away from the FPS theme, we are going to talk about the first HTC Vive Chinese knockoff. So the Hyper-Real Pano. So lots of cool stuff to discuss this week.
The name's kind of cheesy in itself.
The Hyper-Real Pano. Yes, exactly.
Good stuff. So, Anders, where to begin? How did the launch go?
Well, pretty okay, except for major bugs with the network code that we didn't find during testing. It was sad, of course. We had some high latency tests, but they've proven to be, we need to do more of them. So lots of bugs, actually, sadly. But those are now taken care of, and we are looking forward to deliver more content for this next week's update.
Well, you know what they say. If you haven't found your bugs, then you're not looking hard enough. They're always there. So yeah, well done for getting rid of some nasty bugs before release anyway. I suppose what people want to know, first of all, tell us a bit about the game and the style of the game. You know, what is it you're trying to achieve with this one?
Well, we started out actually as a shooting range sandbox, and then early on horseshoes came out, and we thought, okay, bummer, we can't do that. So let's just add multiplayer to it, and yeah, do like more of a hardcore shooter. We love the tactical shooters from the late 90s and the early 2000s, you know, like Rainbow Six and Ghost Recon that came out there, and we love those games, like close quarter combat, but also realistic, you know. So we're trying to, if you can achieve that like kind of feel, then we are going to be very happy.
Definitely. And, yeah, just have to say, Anders, thank you so much for coming onto the show, and also for throwing us some keys our way so we can do some testing for you and try out the game. Jumping in, that we had a little bit of trouble getting everyone in, but you know those issues seem to be resolved now. But when we did get in, I had so much fun running around. It's just a breath of fresh air to have traditional locomotion. Absolutely. Thoroughly enjoyed it. The performance I was getting as well. I am running some high-end gear, but the performance was awesome. I could super sample at 2.0. It just looks amazing. The visuals fantastic. Super excited to see what else comes out. I mean, it's deathmatch at the moment, right? But
yeah,
team deathmatch will be dropping. It's in the pipeline.
It's really soon, yeah. And we hope to do it this week actually, and also a new close quarter map for you guys. So really exciting times for us here.
Brilliant. Awesome.
Great. So new maps coming. I guess people will want to know, obviously map expansion was one of the things people want to see. How are you going to evolve the gameplay? Is it always going to be a sort of all against all deathmatch, or are you going to sort of take that a bit further?
No. This is just the beginning. We're going to add a lot of more game modes. Game modes and maps are actually our biggest priority now, because we need those kind of content to to draw more people. And then also we're going to add more weapons, of course. But absolutely, modes and maps are our biggest priority right now. We're going to start with a new, little bit more like a narrow map this time, so it's more going to be battle on one axis, if you understand what I mean.
Oh, right, yeah. Sort of like almost like a bottleneck. So you've got people either side in this like tight corridors, like an alleyway sort of thing. Yeah.
Exactly, and maybe more like throwing grenades and stuff, and that kind of combat. So it's going to be a little different from the first map, and we hope people are going to like that. Yeah.
We've even got suggestions coming in on chat already. So, is there going to be VR Enthusiast asks, is there going to be co-op missions like in Rainbow Six? And Nathy says, hopefully you'll have a hostage mode as well, a little bit like Counter-Strike Source.
Yeah, I can't tell you too much about the future because I can't promise stuff, but we're absolutely going to look at the co-op mode. But it's further down the pipeline though, but it's probably going to come, yeah. But for the first maybe a month or so, we're going to focus mainly on the multiplayer side of things, and then start to look on single player and co-op. But
I think Tom in the chat just hit my next question was, are you planning on adding any single player aspect to the game, or is it always going to stay multi?
It's going to be like the bot single player. Sorry, so it's going to be like a single player version of the co-op mode.
Okay.
I'm super happy, that's I'm fine with that. I think the most fun I had back on, it was a Medal of Honor Rising Sun back in the day. I used to spend hours against them bots. There was like this bot called Dogan, and he was better than me, and he used to hunt me down, and I used to have so much fun just trying to hunt the bots, Like maybe add some names for them and have different sort of like difficulties for them. That'd be a pretty good idea.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
We're gonna think about that. Cool.
And I was going to say as well, I was playing around like with Caleb, and we were literally just throwing ammo clips to each other. I think that it's really impressive that like the actual the ammo slots you've got on the body, like where you can just like pull the grenades, and like, we were literally just like trying to juggle ammo clips between each other. Like, how did you get that to work so well?
Well, we wrote a new engine on top of the Unity physics engine that we like jacked onto our network code. A lot of physics and networking together to like predict how the physics is going to react, so it looks smooth on all machines. And I think we achieved that pretty well, actually. So that's really nice.
Well, I know one thing you were suggesting that we do, and I don't know if we've done it yet, is play toss the grenade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who ends up with the cooked grenade? Yeah. And we're gonna lots of more stuff like that. Use the physics engine, like breaching doors. We want to do actual physics breaching, where you can shoot the shotgun and the door will split open and stuff like that. And also just push doors open and really use the physics of things instead of just click here to do this static movement. We want it not script. We want you to actually do the physics of it. So that's gonna be cool when it comes there. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. I was going to say, so we were looking at 6 versus 6 for team deathmatch when you incorporate that. Is that as high as you're going to go? I mean, I know that VR is still quite a small user base at the moment. So I don't know. Is that like the ideal number for you?
I mean, on that map and deathmatch, I think 6 is good, but we are of course going to increase it for other modes and other maps. But we can't promise anything over 12 now because that's what we have tested. But it looks good, and we think that we're going to be able to increase that number a lot higher.
Anders, what's the main challenges when you're faced when you're trying to increase the player count? What sort of challenges do you face as a developer?
Yeah. VR has so many more tracking points. So one person is like 3 persons in ordinary or classic games. Yeah. So it's a lot of more tracking going on and lots of more data sent to the network. Plus, with the field of view in VR, you will notice lag and stuff so much more than you do in classic gaming. So it's really important that your client-side prediction and lag compensation works optimum, so you can bring on more players, and also the server has to be beefy enough to handle all the traffic and the data, of course. So there are some challenges, but I think we can manage.
Good stuff.
So we have a question from Martin 2142. Will the Oculus Touch be compatible when they finally get released?
I can't promise anything because I haven't got the touch yet. I'm trying to get it from Oculus actually, and I mean Steam VR says that it should work out of the box. So, but of course it's going to be a problem with the models, with the controller models when you have them in game.
Yeah, of
That's
course.
not going to work out of the box and so on. So we have to look at that, but of course we want to support the Oculus, of course, definitely. We're going to look into that.
Good stuff. I was going to say, there's a fair few people that are, just that we've got going on. Is there going to be any kind of maybe events we can put out or challenges that we can maybe get some organised games going on, or anywhere maybe like a website we can go to see what's going on and get updates from at all?
We are two guys, and we have all time I've gone into development. We have actually not even had the time to think about stuff like that. But we're going to listen to the community, and we hope we can help them with all the questions they have and do stuff like that if that's something they want. But at the moment, it's 200% on the code focus now. So.
Yeah, no problem at all. So yeah, of course, if there's anything we can do on forum.vrspies.com,
sounds great.
We can always start hosting some stuff on there, get some multiplayer games going on. So yeah, of course, anyone who's watching, be sure to go and check that out and see what's going on.
Sounds great.
Yeah, Wayne, I can't believe you beat me to the plug already on I'm usually
so
straight in
the
there.
plug for forum.vrspies.com.
Damn it! Now I'm third. No, well done, guys. No, well made. And someone mentioned earlier actually on the forum about a Steam community group. We've actually got a Steam community group for VRSpies. If you just do a search in Steam for that, it's also a nice, neat way to get into a game. And I noticed it's very simple in Steam. You can just right-click on your friend list. If they're playing Virtual Warfighter, you can do join game, and it effectively jumps in, and your server list is right there. So it works quite well.
Well, we all knew this question would come up, but Nathy is wanting to know, what is the difference between Onward and Virtual Warfighter?
I'm sad to say I haven't played Onward myself, actually. I don't have the pleasure or the time yet, so I haven't watched videos.
I can probably answer.
Yeah?
If you'd like me to. I've spent, I think, Wayne, what was it, 11, 12 hours now on Onward? I'm a little bit addicted to that game. I mean, Onward I'd say, is different to Virtual Warfighter in that it's kind of a very large-scale map environment. It's more kind of tactical compared to Virtual Warfighter, which is much more of a more kind of casual paintball-y type feel, more kind of like, shooting with your friends. It's less tactical and more sort of fun, I'd say, Virtual Warfighter.
So
I mean, that might change. But
kind of the difference between Battlefield and Call of Duty.
I guess so. Mm.
For me, I think that from the time I spent in Onward, that felt a little bit more like sort of armor, very serious. You've got one life.
Armor.
Cover to cover, just hide. Don't dare poke your head out or you'll get blown off. Whereas, I felt a lot more confident when I was running around the map. On Virtual Warfighter, I felt like I was able to run around, and once I died,
less tense.
I wasn't stuck in a lobby. I was just able to respawn and carry on playing. So I just for me, I think maybe more armor, maybe Counter-Strike.
You're right about armor. You're absolutely right, and I think the tension you get from Onward is the fact that you really don't want to die, because if you die, you're stuck in that lobby.
Last man standing modes, that
would be cool.
Yeah. Yes.
I imagine as you develop the features that you're talking about into Virtual Warfighter, it will become the line will become blurred, and in fact the two games will become more and more similar. But as it stands now, if you're buying Virtual Warfighter today, you can expect a fun multiplayer kind of paintball feel game, and I can't recommend it highly enough for that reason. But it's a different game to Onward, and someone the other day said, which would I recommend, Onward or Virtual Warfighter? Well, why not just get both? Would be my advice. They're both very good games. They're both good in their own ways. So
I'm going to talk about it a little bit more later on, but I'm a big fan of traditional locomotion. I'm a little bit fed up of teleporting, so for that reason alone, both titles support proper locomotion. So any game they're supporting that, I'm more than
thank heavens for that.
Yeah, right.
Just gonna
Absolutely.
throw
So
that
breath
out
of fresh
there.
air, to be honest. It really is. So thank you very much for choosing to support that, and I'm sure that there may be some people that maybe have. I'm not trying to word this correctly now, but maybe take a little bit longer to get more accustomed to it. Whereas I think those people that have been into VR for a little while are just super happy to have something you can really just enjoy. So,
I think the comfort mode in our game, I think, is going to help a lot of people, because you can actually turn it on all the way up and then go down and decrease the FOV. Oh, sorry, increase the FOV. And when you get more good, strong feet, you can decrease the reduction.
Could you talk a little bit more about that? Because I've not tried any of that. I just literally went straight on and to the normal standard locomotion. So I don't know a lot about that. Sorry, if you could please elaborate.
Yeah, of course. The only difference from the standard mode is the second. I mean, the moment you start walking, the field of view is going to be reduced to a smaller, like if you look through a paper roll, and you can actually from 0 to 1. You can configure how much of this you want. If you go all the way to like 90%, then it's going to be just small tunnel vision that you see. But when you stop moving, the instant you're going to see all back out. And this has proven to work very well for people that have problems with artificial locomotion. And we had a test group with about, I think, 10 people, and only one had slightly problems, and she was really, really sensitive. So it was really nice feedback from that group, actually. Yeah.
Well, I know in our group, Caleb is usually pretty sensitive, and it didn't seem to bother him as much.
Okay, and you tried the FOV reduction, or?
I don't know what he tried.
No, he just went full hardcore in there, and I think he just didn't have any problems at all, did he, Wayne?
No, he didn't have any troubles that I'm aware of at all. There's a game that's coming to mind that shares a similar feature to your locomotion method for the comfort mode. I think is it Trickster VR? I don't know. I think they have like a.
I know that Adrift has the same thing. You can press a button and then.
I was going to say Adrift. Yeah, Adrift does that.
So it's good that you have thought about other people and you are trying to cater to maximise the potential people that'll be interested in. So
Well, and I got to say, it's also good that you thought of the hardcore people and you just didn't limit it to comfort mode on all the time.
Yeah, and we're going to increase the maximum speed too. So I think it's going to be in the long run. I think it's going to be nice.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm kind of curious about.
Sorry, Billy.
Oh yeah, no, my bad, dude. I was kind of curious about the guns you might add in the future. Like what all guns are in there now? And
yeah, right now we only have the main rifle and the sidearm, but we're going to add a lot more weapons. And we haven't chosen exactly which one is going to be the next one. I'm a bit fond of implementing the sniper rifle with a real nice scope and the bolt action and so on. Yeah. But my brother, my brother is my fellow dev, so. Anyway, he wants to implement the shotgun, so we are a bit...
Oh yeah, shotgun, sniper rifle, and flamethrower. Put a flamethrower in there. That'd be great.
But that's not impossible. The Geneva Convention doesn't allow it, so sorry. So
yeah,
but we're going to do a lot
like different skins or something for the players.
Yeah, we have a really talented guy who did the first model, and we tried to get him to do the second one, so it's going to be... He's really good, so it's going to be nice, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks great.
Nice one.
Thanks.
Yeah, brilliant. So, any more questions on there from the audience?
No, only just development suggestions. There's plenty of stuff coming in about what guns people want. And
Nathan had a question. He was asking, what player base do you expect after a couple of months? How many players are you guys going for on this?
You mean like players online on one server or totally? Because that's hard for me to predict. But we hope that we can get such a big base so that it's always servers online, of course. Because right now that's our biggest problem, is to populate the servers. And I think that if we add a lot of good quality content, I think the player is gonna come in.
Once again, Harv here is asking, are melee attacks available for use?
Not at the moment, but we have thought about knife takedowns and stuff like that. I mean, I love to come up, sneak up behind, and slit people's throat. I love that from other games. So something bloody like that, you know, and lots of. I want graphics. This will be graphical violence in this game, you know. So we're gonna look at a lot of. We want to make it visually nice, also, not just lots of features. We want to add also AAA guns and AAA models and stuff. So it's gonna take time, but the content is gonna be there eventually. I promise.
One of the things that got added, I remember, to Counter-Strike Source, which my son, I used to play Counter-Strike Source a lot, and my son always wanted to play it, and I said, no, you can't, he's only like 10 years old. And I noticed in Counter-Strike Source you could effectively hack it. There was some code you could put in which would turn it into effectively paintball. There was no blood, and when you took someone down, they wouldn't fall over. Yeah. They'd kneel down and just sort of sit down on the ground. It would be great to have something like that, you know, another development suggestion from me, but I would love my sons to have a go on it in a kind of slightly more friendly way, you know, maybe like paintball guns. So there you go, add a paintball gun.
Yeah, we look at that. No blood, though.
No.
I've got a quick question, and this might be a little bit deep, I don't know, but I'm just thinking about, like, what are your thoughts regarding, like, violence in virtual reality, like sort of long term? Have you done any sort of, you know, have you got any theories on that? Because, like, you know, are people more empathetic towards, you know, seeing people that have, like, in front of you? Because when you're in virtual reality, like, you feel like you're a lot closer to these people that are the other side of the country, or the, you know, different countries.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I think it's actually better because, I mean, if you look down you know, a rifle bore in virtuality, it's like you're actually looking down on someone who's going to shoot you. Yeah. So I think I don't think people are going to go maniac because of VR. I think actually they're going to learn to appreciate non-violence more, actually. So yeah. That's my take on that. I've never. It's no proof that, you know, game violence creates violence. I don't believe in that.
I don't believe that. I think it's personality types, to be honest. You know, like, people have issues anyway. You know, and so, you know, if they're inclined, you know, I think that these people are affected that sort of way anyway. I think it is interesting, though. You know, the sense of adrenaline, you know, is so much more vivid in VR than compared to a flat screen. You know, when you're playing there, you know, looking with a control pad, looking around, you know, just running around a map. It's just completely different to being there and feeling like you're holding the weapons in your hand. It's just crazy. I love it, though. I love it. When I bought some knee pads, I literally bought some gel knee pads so I can get my crouch on.
You've gone proper hardcore.
I'm not gonna touch that with a 10.
No, don't touch that. But I'm currently reading it now. There was a study done, I think, by Harvard on violence in video games, and I think we mentioned it on another podcast because we were talking about this subject. And effectively, what they got from the study was that video game violence doesn't make kids more violent or more aggressive to each other. In fact, quite the opposite. It makes them more relaxed because it ends up being a method of venting any anger or pent-up aggression they have into the game rather than real life. And I think, I mean, VR, it's very difficult to compare a video game on a flat screen to a virtual reality experience because it is so much more real feeling. And I think, you know, personally, I feel that the more easily influenced members of society will always be the ones you worry about. I think your general day-to-day average Joe is not going to go, you know, turn into a killer playing these games, right?
No,
that's the hope.
Well, I mean, you know, but it really is. It's a different thing. I remember back when we were all playing Grand Theft Auto 5 with Vorpix, and going into that convenience store and pointing that gun at that clerk's head, and I had difficulty pulling the trigger. For a split second, I was like, no, I can't do this. It kind of touched on my inner self of, would I do this in real life? And when you finally do it, I mean, there's that split second of, oh my God, what did I just do?
Yeah. Luckily, you had Greg.
I'm sorry, I'm not laughing.
He has no problems gunning people down. So that's
yeah. Greg comes in and just mows down everybody in the convenience store. You know?
Come on, Dom. What's the hold up? Get in the car.
About it.
but it really does. I mean, when you're deeply immersed in that game, I mean, you're clicking into it on a very subconscious level, and it starts to kind of tap into that. So.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree. I think you have more empathy with other players in VR. You have to. You feel so much more present. But anyway, yeah, maybe we're labouring it. We'll see how the studies end up, what they end up showing in 10 years' time, when you know, they blame some school shooting for this shit. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, moving on then. Any more questions for Anders? Nothing much coming in on the chat here. I think it's fair to say that you know, I think as a community, Steam are very keen to support developers, and it's nice to actually get access to these early access titles in VR, actually support devs like yourself to get them up and running. I think what this podcast will hopefully do is assure people that you, Anders, are, you know, very active developer, and you're going to be working on bringing lots more content into this game, so they can feel safe in buying this.
Yeah, definitely.
Develop.
100% legitimate. You know, I've got no doubts that you're going to do it and pull it off.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
that's our plan. That's our plan.
Best of luck with that. Absolutely.
Thanks.
Unless you have anything else you want to talk about, you are most welcome, Anders. We say it to our guests every time to stay on the podcast all the way through and listen to our mindless ramblings, or you can disappear and have a nice cup of coffee and do something else. It's up to you.
I have to do some mapping and texturing here, so I think I have to.
Yeah, you've got a game to develop. You've got to work on that.
He's a busy man. He's got stuff to work on, guys.
It was really fun, guys, and thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on,
man. Absolutely.
And I'm more than happy to do some testing for you, Anders. So hit me up.
Yeah,
hit me up
of
on
course.
Skype, man.
Yeah,
cheers.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Cheers. Bye.
See you soon, Anders. Bye bye.
Top bloke.
All right. Now we can start hyping up Onward and not feel so bad about it, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, now on to the next one.
On to the next FPS we're all addicted
I know
to.
you guys have been all about Onward. I was going to play it last night, and I couldn't get time to do it, so I am dying to hear everybody's thoughts on this game before I jump in there tonight.
I think once
go for it.
just to revert back just slightly, you know, I'm not going to downplay it too much, but like I think that as soon as he's got a team deathmatch in Virtual Warfighter, I think that, you know, I'm going to be in there just as much. So that's the only thing at the minute. So as soon as that is in, I'll be split. You know what I mean? But scared. Onward.
Wait, before you jump forward, I mean, on that subject actually, there was one last thing I wanted to mention, because he was talking about like servers and things. The important thing with Virtual Warfighter is you set up your own server and you run it on your own PC, right? Effectively, the client becomes the server, and your friends join. So one of my recommendations to people thinking about buying Virtual Warfighter is make sure a few of your friends own it too, because then you can just always put them in. You've always got someone to play with, and it doesn't matter if there's no servers available, you know? Anyway, that's just my 2 cents.
Really good point.
Yeah. Sorry, Wayne, go for it, mate.
I was just about to say, yeah, the short amount of time that, in comparison to Chris, in Onward that I've spent, terrifying. I remember that first day, like I jumped in, we both jumped online, and I was so stressed. I was stressed out. I was moaning at Chris for throwing smoke grenades and giving away our position. You know, I was like terrified. And
no, wait a minute. You bought knee pads and you were moaning at Chris. I don't know. Okay.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
All right. Just have
yeah, literally, we were running around. We made our way into like we were in some sort of Middle Eastern town. We made our way into like this little room. We were being shot at. I'd been, you know, I literally had bullet holes in me. I just managed to crawl into this room. I was struggling trying to inject myself, like to heal myself. I couldn't work it out, and then like it was so stressful. It was so stressful. I felt like I was in the room, and you know, I felt like it was just amateur night, and we were just we were just targets. You know, it was so good though. You know, having to manually like reload your weapons. It's quite open, terrifying. I felt I was sweating, scared, anxious, excited, adrenaline pumping. It was just mad. Yeah, crazy. What about your thoughts, Chris, man?
Yeah, very similar, I think, to be honest. It is very tense. There's one of the videos I posted, and I think I shared it with most people, where I end up being the last man standing. And I think the best thing about Onward to me is the audio, funny enough. When you talk to someone, the 3D position audio, you can work out who's talking, and you can turn around and talk to them. You walk closer to them, their voices get louder. You walk away, they get quieter. You reach up with your hand to your left shoulder and press your radio button and talk into your shoulder, and you can talk to the rest of the troop, and it's just brilliant like that.
That's built into it? That's crazy.
It's built in using the Steam VoIP platform, and basically when you're the last man standing, you're on the radio like, hey, anyone alive? Anyone live? You're hearing gunfire and like no one's getting back to you. You realise you're the last one, so you're very aware of how completely exposed and alone you are in that kind of situation. And I was like pinned down in a house. I'd like shooting from every side, bullets pinging off walls. You get shrapnel damage if you stand too close to where a bullet hits, and it's just so tense, man. It's like fear, complete fear, and yeah, I'm totally addicted to it.
Sounds terrible, almost.
That sounds awesome. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's just I love it, absolutely love it.
You guys should hook up heart monitors or when you play.
Yeah, I should look at my heart monitor. I've got my old Fitbit running with a heart monitor. I should have a look at it. But yeah, could be quite funny.
I feel like after a little bit of practice, things start to settle. It's almost like when you're brand new to VR, you're like, oh, this is crazy. And then like a month later, you're like, oh, this game ain't very good. This game ain't very good. Because you're used to VR and you're criticising the game for being the game. Whereas the first moments I was in there, I'd never been in a situation like that. Whereas now I've had a couple of hours in, I'm a little bit more calm, collected, and I think the more you play it, the easier it gets. I think.
Yeah. I think we talk a lot about the pros with Onward. I think that the multiplayer aspect is just what makes it brilliant. It's a lovely FPS game. It effectively feels a lot like Counter-Strike in VR. It's just really, really well done. But there are some cons. I think the main cons with it are it seems, I would guess, and I've done some testing with it. I think it seems to bind to like single cores on your processor, so it doesn't seem to use CPU. The sort of multi-CPU, whatever you call it, multi-core CPU. It also seems to have some issues with some GPUs, so you still get weird judders and frame rate issues. Although the last performance update did resolve a lot of those, so it's got some issues, but generally it's very good.
Yeah, I think that the performance issues I'm having are definitely CPU related. I'm running the same CPU as you, but you've got a cooler on it. Mine's a stock i7 4790K.
Same as mine.
And I can bang it on the low setting. I experience some issues. I experience exactly the same issues at the default. Super sampling to 1.5, and I'm exactly the same. So I've got a GTX 1080, and it's all the way through. My GPU's coping, no problem. I can run. It's no different for me if I run at 1.5 super sampling or if I run at low. So it's definitely like a CPU bottleneck.
It is, and I kind of proved this by overclocking my. I've water-cooled my CPU, so I'm overclocking from 4 to 4.8, and now overclocking to 4.8, which is really pushing it. I don't get the juddering anymore. I've just brought it down to a safer level, and I'm starting to get a little bit of judder back. And when I look at the processor, it's only using something like 33% of my CPU, so it seems to be binding to specific cores. So it's not very well optimized, I'd say.
It sounds like an optimization issue.
They'll get there.
But then this is like mostly one man's work, So
it's garage stuff.
That's the guy that's like been making this game for a couple or months now. Did he post like an update video every week or something like that?
Dante, Dante's been developing it for quite a while. I think it's a bit more than that, to be honest. I think he's put a bit more time into it, but maybe just
Bevel Dog, is that his name?
No, he had an early access to it and was helping, alpha and beta test it.
Yeah, that's the guy. That's the first time I saw the game was through that guy's channel, I think. Maybe.
Another thing as well. I have actually tried using my Fallen Dawn's noob tube. I've been struggling with it. In Onward. I thought it'd be fantastic, and in the sniper's range, it was awesome. It was awesome. But like, I think just the stress of combat, and having to get your, having to reload your weapon, like it's just do you know what I mean? It's just too hectic. I think if I use the assault class with the massive big clip on it and like the AP, the bullet type.
The ribbon.
Yeah, you only get one case, so if you reload it at the start, you might be all right. But just reloading the heat battle with the noob tube just didn't.
Well, that's why they have the shooting range, Wayne, because basically each gun is completely different, and you have to do a kind of horseshoes, hot dogs, and hand grenades type thing, right? Where the model is, you have to eject the clip, you have to put a clip in, you have to pull one into the chamber, and you have to know the gun. So if you've not used the gun before, I always make the same mistake. I've not used the gun before, and I go, oh shit, what do I do? I'm looking for catches, and it's crazy. And you're right, the big machine gun, you actually have to unbolt it, clip on a case of bullets, pull the bullets over with your hand, click it on the other side. There's about 15 maneuvers to get the goddamn thing loaded. Yeah. And then you fire it, it goes, and it's gone, and that's it. And
that's awesome. That's something that always frustrated me with, like, traditional first-person shooters on monitors is you go around shooting and you reload in like 1.5 seconds or less, and then you're shooting again. But in like real life, it's really hard to get to that point where you can just be like, drop a mag out and load one in, in seconds. It's just hard to do.
I certainly wasn't doing that for sure. I wasn't. I need some practice.
It exposes, I think, you get good at it really quickly. After about 11 hours now, I'd say I'm pretty good at Onward. But when I first started, I was just a camper. I was a sniper. I'd just run to the back of the map with my big gun, lie down, and just stay there. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like, it's fun, but it's kind of slightly cowardly, you know what I mean? It's like, because you just don't want to handle the strategy of it. I'll just sit on a hill. But yeah, it's good. Really great game. Anyway, we lost Don, so let's talk shit about him. He's not here.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that does nicely segue onto all the positive reviews that have come in for Onward, considering the locomotion methods they've used as well. Like, I think a lot of people have been quite apprehensive about supporting, traditional locomotion methods, and the Dante at Downpour has implemented it. And over 90% of all the reviews are all positive. And I think 3 days in, he was like third highest, not just in VR, but overall sales on the whole of Steam. So there's a lot of people leaving a lot of reviews that are all positive, and it's quite surprising considering that a lot of people were worried about motion sickness.
Absolutely, and we have it on very good authority from devs we've talked to, and we better not name names, that there seems to be a little bit of a conspiracy here from HTC Vive to stop that form of motion control coming out. I'm not too surprised that the actual, producers of these systems and, games would be resistant to forms of locomotion that would make you feel ill, or make some people feel ill, but they are so against, any kind of sliding and locomotion is a definite no-no. And I get it, I really do. Teleportation doesn't really make you feel ill. If you're new to VR, it doesn't make you feel ill, but it's just not going to work for a game like Onward or Virtual Warfighter.
And I have to agree. Sorry, carry on.
Well, no, I was going to say, and I don't think it's just from the, I don't think it's just from the Valve HTC camp. I mean, I think that we see that with Oculus, and kind of, transitioning to what I was going to talk about. Okay, so like this week we had one of our first FPS or build as FPS games come out for the Oculus Rift, and that's Damaged Core. Everybody was hyping the hell out of this game, and oh my God, an FPS in the Rift, and you get the game, and you can't move in the game. It is literally just teleporting from body to body to body, and so they've done teleportation in an interesting way. In fact, that you're not just looking at a gaze point and moving to it. I mean, you're actually transitioning from one body to the next on the battlefield, but essentially it's just teleport.
Yeah, but it's a mechanic, Don. All they've done is they've just said, right, okay, we've got limitations from Oculus that we can only use teleport. How can we make that into a game?
Exactly.
Well, congratulations, they've made it into a bloody boring game, and everyone's been hyping it, apart from Nathy, who I'd say, I watched his review the other day.
No, he was a very honest review.
Honest review.
Yeah,
and unpaid review, I guess.
I did mine this morning, and it should be going up here soon, and it very, very much mirrors that sentiment. To me, Damaged Core would have been great on the Gear VR. Because what is it in essence? It is a turret shooter that allows you to hop the turret to different points in the battlefield. I wouldn't call it an FPS in any way, shape, or form.
It's interesting because Nathy's video I thought was very good, because when you watch it, you're convinced he's going to give it a good review at the end. because he's talking about the pros. You're watching his little recordings, and it looks really, really good. It's really, really polished. The sort of when you zoom in, and it does all the clever graphics, and it looks really good. And then he gets to the conclusion. You're like, oh, here we go, 9.5 out of 10, definitely. He goes, oh yeah, pretty boring. Gameplay gets tired, and you realise he's right, because really that's the only thing they're exploiting is that jumping about mechanic.
It is, and it's very polished looking, like you said. I mean, that's what it's got going for it right now, is that it does almost kind of border on that AAA look. The 3D positional audio is very good. The graphics are very good. The animations of the characters is pretty decent. But at the core, the gameplay, it gets boring after about 15 to 20 minutes.
Yep, absolutely.
It did look really nice. Like the visuals were super impressive. I've not played it. In fact, I've not booted up Revive for about months. I don't know, months to be honest, since I've actually tried any Revive title. But yeah, I was contemplating actually doing so for this title. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of fed up of teleporting, and yeah, I think that's my 5 cents.
No, I think that's all of our 5 cents. It's at that point where, I understand that some people do need the teleport, but kind of like we were kind of talking with Anders, give people the option. Giving players the option to turn it off is what is needed. I'm not saying that we need to go away from teleport, because for some people that is definitely a needed mechanic. Exactly, that's the only way they're going to get in there and they're going to enjoy VR. But for those of us who have been around for a while, for those of us who have the iron VR legs that don't get the sickness, give me the damn option to turn it off. And I don't care if it's just on by default and I have to go into a menu and find a way to turn it off. Just give me the option to turn it off. No more comfort mode, no more hold my hands, no more teleport. Give me straight up first-person shooter controls in VR. And that's my 2 cents.
Agreed. I think also going on from that as well, with the recent locomotion games that are coming out, it leaves me rather maybe naively very hopeful for Fallout 4. Maybe they've seen Onward, maybe they've seen all these games that are coming out with really high positive reviews on Steam, and actually thinking, you know what, maybe we could just leave it in. Let's just leave in analog support, and then as an option, have teleport as well, because I'm sure that they're scratching their heads over locomotion. They've already confirmed that they weren't happy with the existing virtual reality demos that they were showcasing, and they were adamant and always telling people this isn't final. You know what I mean? So hopefully, that they've left in the old solution for locomotion, and maybe even surprise us with something completely new and refreshing. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, let's face it. Raw Data did that very nice kind of blink, sort of fast motion teleportation method. Raw Data worked quite well like that. We didn't complain too much about that one. Yeah, I think there's probably ways they can do it. It doesn't have to be slide. We'll see.
Well, I think that's kind of the gist of it right now. As I've read several articles preparing for the podcast today about teleportation and locomotion, the devs are still trying to figure this out. I mean, this is a new medium, and there are a lot of factors that you don't get in the traditional on-monitor game that we have to take into consideration. But no one has really figured out locomotion in VR as of yet.
What about the Omni? Is that still like a viable thing? I mean, has anybody been receiving those yet on YouTube and reviewed them yet, or is it just still like big conferences where you see it? What do you know, Wayne? You used to follow them quite closely.
Yeah, I still do. I still do follow them. They are shipping. They're really, really behind on their schedule. They were supposed to have got out over 1,000 units. They were still below 100. To their actual consumers that are receiving it, but people are receiving them. There are consumer reviews up on YouTube, and to be honest, I feel a bit bad for them as well. Because they're really happy, but like I sit there and I'm watching them in the living rooms. I'm thinking, I'm fucking glad that's not in my living room. It's massive. Do you know what I mean?
Well, and that's why I really don't think that that's going to take off at a consumer level. That's really where we're going to see Omnis and these omnidirectional treadmills are going to be in virtual reality arcades, in amusement parks, in places that are going to take VR to a different level than what you're going to get in your house.
I think if you've got a designated room, then yeah, you know, and I'm still not completely ruled it out. As soon as I've got my house sorted, you know, I've just got to sort this ghetto house out. But as soon as I've sorted it, then yeah, my garage is going to be my VR place, you know. So like once I'm in there, who knows? So I'm not going to rule it out. I was in VR chat a couple of weeks ago with Olivier. You know, he's in there quite a bit, and he was actually using his Virtuix Omni. You know, he was loving it. He was super happy with it. But we could actually hear him running through his own speaker.
Clip, clop, clip, clop, clip, clop.
Yeah, so
that's funny. It is. I know
he was
saying it is
worried about disturbing his neighbors too, because he said it was so loud that you could hear it through the walls.
That's interesting, because they're walking on like socks and stuff, or I guess they have their own shoes.
No, the Omni, you're wearing like shoes that almost have like cleats on them.
Yeah, the proper shoes. I think you're thinking of the Cyberimp Virtualizer.
Yeah.
The story.
The Omni is the green one, right? You say that it's like it's super big in a room, but if you dedicate a room for room scale VR, I mean that's effectively like much bigger than what the Omni is, though, right? Like the space required for that.
Yeah, and you know, I do have to agree. But whereas at the moment, I'm doing room scale in my living room. I can move my sofa out of the way, and then I've got a big area. Whereas, like, if I've just got a massive Omni sitting in my living room, you know, like, and the wife's
you're not moving that.
The wife's sitting there.
You need to learn how to disguise it as something like a furniture piece.
Yeah.
Like hit a button and it becomes like a nice table or something. I don't know.
At the moment, I do feel quite relieved. I do feel quite relieved that, you know, I cancelled, and I
think the holy grail of all this would probably be redirected walking. When they finally get that down to where they can tighten that circle up to where it's constantly moving you, and you're just walking in a circle. You're walking in a tight circle, but you never feel like you're walking in a circle.
What's the minimum area for that, though?
Right now, it's quite big. So that's why I said that's the holy grail, is if they could ever figure out an algorithm to get that redirected walking down to a room scale. You know,
even
that's
wireless. Even like wireless VR solution.
Wireless, that was actually being teased this week. I caught a couple of posts on Reddit where they are working on a wireless transmitter for the HTC Vive.
Was that Quark VR or?
Yeah, Quark VR, absolutely. And apparently they're using some high-end Wi-Fi to do it, and they've shown demos. And I mean, we may see wireless VR quite possibly sooner than we ever thought we would.
As an add-on, I'd be more than happy to pay, you know, a couple £100 on top of what I've already paid just to have the wires gone. You know, but it has to be reliable.
For sure.
It has to be reliable.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I mean it's definitely something, you know, with depth mapping cameras and wireless transmission. I mean, we could see a whole new level of VR in the next couple of generations.
Yeah. Yeah, the Vive wiring's so cumbersome. Like it feels like I'm carrying around a
Well, I will say the new wire that they're starting to ship out for the Vive does seem to solve that problem just a little bit, because it is getting it down to just the single cable, kind of similar to the Oculus Rift.
Nice.
Now, I can tell you from playing with the Vive DK1 that Gaspar has been loaning me, yeah, you ain't kidding, man. I mean, that cable
it's heavy. Like,
is
everything about the Vive is kind of heavy and hurts after a while.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you don't mind, I'm going to plug something of my own now, because I
mind. Please don't.
Yeah, you mind. Okay, I'll shut up.
I don't mind, because I want to see it. I want to see what you 3D printed.
Yeah. No, it's not 3D printed.
Oh,
basically,
okay.
I did my HTC Vive and Oculus Rift comparison video about 5 months ago. It's had, you know, a few thousand views. No, not lasers. Not lasers. It's the updated one. You bastards. I'm trying to be serious. I took it down from about 1.5 hours to, I think I've edited it down to about 20 minutes. I've also updated the conclusion. I've trimmed out sections that are no longer relevant, like criticisms of Steam VR. That's no longer something I worry about. I think the software's come a long way now. So I've trimmed out stuff that's no longer relevant. I've updated the conclusions, and I've re-uploaded it, because I was a little bit worried people were still using some old information in my video to make a buying decision. I was getting messages saying, "Oh, thanks for your video. I've bought an Oculus Rift. I'm really looking forward to it." And I thought, yeah, well, was that really right for you? You know, I mean, maybe actually you'd enjoy the room scale stuff. So I've updated it a little bit, and I've just posted it out. So feel free to have a look at that, guys, if you want. But my conclusions are basically the same. You know, the Rift I prefer. It's a lighter device. It's more comfortable on my face. I'll always use it for cockpit experiences. The Vive is fantastic fun. You know, so there you go. Spoiler alert. That's the ending.
I mean, now that I've been using a Vive, I mean, I have to agree. I mean, you know, visually they're similar, but it comes down to the comfort for me. I mean, the Rift is just a more comfortable beast.
I bet that is the case. And do you know what? I've never tried a CV1. As crazy as that sounds, I've never had a chance to. So I suppose because I don't know what I'm missing, I'm just living the dream. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I suppose if I did try the CV1, I'd be like, this is rubbish. You know.
No, I don't think you would. What I'm talking about is like the kind of VR file, you know, slightly, I don't know, very picky assessment of it. And also, a lot of it was related to the software, I realise now. The early software, the early Steam VR software, it kind of overdrove the Vive screen now. The Vive screen's a lot clearer and crisper with recent software updates. This is quite noticeable. Yeah, super sampling's helping for sure. I'm not entirely sure what else it's been going on, but it is a lot better than when I first reviewed it. So there you go.
No, I've got to say, I mean, you know, even the Vive DK1 that I'm borrowing right now, the screen looks good. I mean, it's the one thing I am loving is that, you know, my big pet peeve with the Rift has always been the God rays. The God rays in the Vive, they're there, but they are different. And, you know, that I can say is a little easier on my eyes than the gleaming J.J. Abrams flares of light coming out and burning my retinas.
I've still got a big section of that on my video as well, Don. You'll be glad to know. So
well, thank you for leaving that in, because that must go. By Generation 2, that must go. I mean, that's, like I said, I'm still waiting for my OSVR HDK 2, but that is the one thing that I am desperately wanting to see a comparison on, is the fact that they use dual element non-Fresnel lenses.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that is going to be interesting. And yeah, when do you think you're going to get that?
Well, I've been in contact with OSVR, so hopefully soon. They have asked for my shipping address, so
that's good. That's a good sign.
We shall see. So he said as soon as they could, they were going to get me one shipped out, and you guys can fully expect a buttload of videos and a full my thoughts and comparisons on VRSpies.com.
I think people will be very interested.
There's not a lot of videos out there for that stuff.
Well, they just recently started shipping on the 12th of last month, so. But yeah, we've seen a few. I know. Let's see, one Mangry Gamer. I know he did an unboxing. Yeah. He hasn't really done any videos with it yet, per se.
He's stoked, man.
Yeah, he is stoked. He said he liked it.
Great.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, now that it has feature parity with the Rift and the Vive, you know, as far as the screen resolution and everything, I'm very interested to see this as a possible lower cost solution with lower power hardware. And I know another one that Wayne found today is the what was it, the Hyperreal Pano?
Yeah. It's been quite heavily featured, quite high up on the Vive Reddit today, and I don't know if I trust the source though. It was showing for sale for under 200 quid. I think it was like $229. Basically, pretty much a Chinese rip-off of the HTC Vive lighthouses. Same refresh rate, same 2K panels, but with a weird Oculus Rift touch controllers. I don't know if we can get any pictures. You got any pictures there?
I actually threw a couple of links in there. I think if Chris could bring.
Yeah, I can do it. 1 second.
It's a very, very interesting, futuristic, crazy-looking headset. But what really struck me when you sent me that link earlier, Wayne, those controllers are straight up a knockoff of the touch controllers. I mean, like they snuck them out the back of the factory and just made a couple of additions to them. But I mean, it was like, but everything, the lighthouses. I mean, their tracking system. The lighthouses look just like their tracking system looks just like the lighthouse. The HMD itself really kind of has a Vive feel, and then the controllers look just like the touch.
You look at.
I can't see the price on it.
Let me see if I go back.
I was going to say, if you pull up, I was going to say
I'll put a link down. I've
got it here.
He's got the links. Full screen that stuff,
That's
Chris.
funny.
I'm getting like a little
Hyper real panda. I just want to make like a cheesy commercial for him. Someone just yelling like.
At the end of the day,
Real Panda VR headset.
like,
It's so real and hyper.
It's so awesomely real.
like these specifications though, they all look legit. You know what I mean? It's got like a 2K OLED panel. It's got 110 degrees FOV to match like the Rift as well as the Vive. 90 hertz refresh rate to match as well. Low latency, like 11 milliseconds. I don't know how that's comparable to the Vive. I'm not too sure on that, but that's still quite low.
Dead on.
And also fully tracked motion controllers. So that's bringing out Oculus Touch before Oculus Touch.
Well, yeah,
You know what I mean?
I mean the thing that I was noticing is the price. I mean, that's insane.
If that's legit.
If that's legit, it is saying that this thing is, in American dollars, $229.
Yeah, but it also says saving $369. On the name of that website through Google, just to see what I could find out about the website. I also put it down in the Reddit chat. I'll go and find my little...
Reddit chat said something about $500 and something.
Yeah.
Can we pay with PayPal? Let's just get a fundraising thing going to buy one.
Yeah, that's actually...
And we could like share it like every other day. Like I get it on Mondays and Wednesdays. Yeah.
Oh, and then send it to the subscribers as well.
Yeah, there we go. We'll just pass it around to everybody.
Well, I'm just fascinated. What happens when you plug it in then? I mean, how is Steam going to see that?
I think
Probably, I'm guessing as a Vive.
Yeah, you'll see it as a Vive.
Well, the trackers, were they open source, or was it the headset, the Vive?
They did recently
Trackers.
open up the Lighthouse tracking to pretty much anybody. So, I mean, this could be the very first one that's using that, for all we know.
Possibly. I'm going to put a little link to this in our chat, so the guys might not see it. But like, if you load this up, this is what I found. Basically, is on scammer.com. I ran the name Zolday, which is the company supposedly selling them at such a cheap price.
It's not recommended.
So scammer.com checks Zolday.com. Browsing and buying in this website is not recommended, and then it's got like a few things saying this website.
But I'm browsing now. Am I in danger?
I don't know, mate. I don't know.
Danger.
It says this website doesn't own an SSL certificate. Your data might be compromised if you actually create an account with them. I think. It says the website doesn't have any trust records, but it might be a new website. Down the bottom, it's got like users that have posted. Be careful, and the bottom one says Zolday.com is a Chinese website that is connected to a previous site called VovoSite.com that accepts payments for goods via Western Union only.
Oh God!
Orders that are not for the goods bought by the purchaser, but for something else in their country and sent by another company. They pay China Post Personal to obtain false tracking orders. The goods never arrive, and they close off any contact.
So you know what? Don't buy
Sounds
them.
legit. Let's do it.
Sounds legit, guys. Let's get them.
We're just saying that it's an interesting that it's out there.
229.
If it's real.
But then that website is not affiliated with the developers of the headset. So the actual headset itself is legit. The source in which you're selling it at that price is not. So
I have reached out to the developers of the headset for more information. So hopefully there will be.
I like what Reckoner VR said that the headset looked like it was modeled, but then it's like not smooth at all. Like it's funny. It just looks like
a low poly headset.
Yeah, poly headset.
Well, the high field touch controllers looks like someone's whittled them out of wood. It's kind of like chiseled effects on the side.
The crazy
spun
spoon
up on a lathe.
Not one out.
Yeah,
definitely 3D printed looking, but I don't know. You know, I mean, we're gonna see a lot more of this, guys. I mean, you know, as VR starts to grow, we're gonna see a lot more of these knockoffs.
Yeah.
I think this could be good though. Thing is, like, if there's a really cheap headset that brings out comparable, performance and features, fuck yeah. You know, if people can get this. similar fraction of the cost, I'm all for that. I'm all for that, and it will drive down costs. So
and I mean, and currently that's why I'm so on about the OSVR, because the OSVR could be the first legitimate headset that we've seen that is kind of going for that market.
Yeah, definitely. So it would definitely be interesting to see some proper reviews on YouTube, or even get hold of one and and actually try it out myself. If that was the case, I think I would use that. Look after my Vive and actually take this other unit to to actually showcase VR to friends and not worry about it getting mashed up. Like a drunken party. Just like, don't worry, it's the ghetto
and
one.
Also,
Don't worry.
I didn't read a lot about it, but it says 3-in-1. What is the 3-in-1
Probably
Can this
like
be used mobile? I mean, does this
I
have
don't know.
mobile built-in capability, or
Thing
I
is,
don't know,
some of that translation might be, I don't know, 3 items in a box for all we know.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
3
mean?
items in the box. Yeah, there you go.
Chinese translation's a bit weird, isn't it?
You can wear it 3 different ways. It's a hat, it's a brooch, it's a pterodactyl. What? Oh, sorry, old movie reference there. Yeah, so yeah, Chris got it.
I get all your jokes, John.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, like mine's. But I don't know. It looks very space age. It looks like it's made out of space age polymers or something like that. And I'm sure we're going to see a lot more of these knockoffs come out. But I don't know. If it's real for that price and it works, could be something.
Yeah,
you never know.
I don't think people, should be getting and investing into one expecting like the premium, full proper exact replica experience, but if it's comparable or in the same ballpark, then yeah, but why not? I was happy with the DK2 before I knew what CV1 was, or 5 was like,
Well, there's still a lot of people happy with the DK2.
DK2 is
the
legit.
DK2 still has legs. Yeah, it's still legit as hell.
Yeah, for sure.
I need to get it out. I haven't touched it since I got the Vive.
I miss mine. I really, some days I wish I
miss
would
the
have sold it.
experiences I had with it, I think.
Yeah, for me it's Elite. I mean, I still don't play Elite anymore because of the God Rays and the CV1, and I can't take it. So I really wish I had my DK2 just to play Elite, which kind of goes back to OSVR. That is the one thing that I will be chomping at the bit to try with the OSVR Razer HDK2. Is Elite dangerous? One
of the biggest things that I'm missing from back in the day was the async, man. Asynchronous time warp. I miss that so bad. Yeah, that compensates and.
Oh, it makes a huge difference. It really does.
Not as good.
Because I can play the same thing in the Vive DK1 that I'm borrowing, and then play the same thing in the Rift, and it's a night and day experience as far as the frame rates.
Yeah.
So
I think a little bit of less of a problem with a 1080, but like for things like Onward, if Onward had like async, that'd be awesome. You know what I mean? Like.
Good stuff. So we were talking earlier about locomotion. We've covered that subject completely. Don, did you want to have a little chat about detached?
Well, yeah, and that can kind of go into locomotion a little bit because it. Here's my thing about detached. Okay, I have been following detached for a while, ever since some of the first videos for this game came out and started hitting. Yeah, I think like 6-7 months ago. Okay, so detached is first and foremost, I'm going to say, not for people without VR legs. Okay, if you could not get through a traditional first-person shooter, you definitely ain't going to get through detached. It's imagine a drift, but like on steroids. That's all I can say. I mean, this is actually PvP in space, so I mean, you're floating through space stations. It has multiplayer in the fact that you can literally have PvP matches. It's got a single-player mission. But man, let me tell you, the graphics in this game, the overall feel, the ambience, the music, everything just clicked for me, and it was just a really awesome experience. So if you have not checked that out, go over to Steam, jump on their page. I think they got it. It's on sale right now for $17.99. It is early access, so once again, it's not going to be a 100% finished game, but it was at a state already that I was just blown away. I mean,
great.
Definitely a great experience. And obviously, you've got that you're in a space helmet, so it's very, very similar to Adrift. That's all I can kind of compare it to, because that's really the only other game. But as far as locomotion goes, you kind of got to have that iron stomach, because you are up, down, left, right, twist, turn, forward, backwards. I mean, you've got that full 6 degrees of freedom in this game.
Just a quick question, Don. Is there any support for? I know there's not the locomotion, as you say, is old school. But so does that mean there's literally no fully tracked controllers at all? You just literally
not currently. No, I mean you're using the Xbox One pad, because I mean it is literally more flight controls than FPS controls. So imagine FPS kind of look with flight controls. Okay. Similar to Adrift, once again, if you've played Adrift, because you got to think you're in a space suit, so you got thrusters. So you can thrust up, down, forward, back. You can tilt and pan to one side or the other. It does have like one cool thing that I found though that I didn't find until I'd smacked myself into a wall quite a few times. Is it does have like an auto braking system where you just hit the bumpers and you'll just come to a complete stop, like dead stop. But I have reached out to the dev for that. I want to see if we can get some keys for that, because I think that would be a really fun multiplayer game for all of us.
I got one, Dom.
Oh, you did?
I just checked my inbox earlier. I just noticed I had it sitting there. So I think,
good, cool.
Yeah, so we'll definitely check that out as well. It looks very much fun.
Yeah, I think it'd be great. I think it'd be something that we'd all enjoy.
Excellent stuff. Okie dokie. What's next on the list? We don't have one.
No, I think we've hit the end of the list, because we just do that sometimes.
Well, I don't know.
Tonight. We have been flowing. I know that there's been a very recent update for what's that game called, the sword fighting one? Oh man.
Oh, Chivalry.
No. Hang on. I'm going to have a little moment, so I'll come back to it in a moment, and I'll let you know what it's called. Sorry for this.
No worries. Let's talk about the spies that aren't here tonight. We've got Game Hard. People are always asking about Game Hard. We mention him from time to time. He got very ill again. Unfortunately, went off to hospital. He's definitely on the mend now. He's looking a lot better. You guys might have seen a video he chucked up on YouTube recently. So yeah, we hope that we get old Game Hard back in here. Greg, life's getting in the way of the podcasts at the moment. He's been an absolute stalwart guy. He's been a linchpin in this. He's been on every cast, I think, almost from the beginning. But he's missed tonight, which is a bit of a shame. And I don't know what's happening with Caleb tonight. I guess a bit of work, is it?
I think he's working. Yeah.
Yeah, bloody work, eh? So Caleb's moved to Florida, and a bit stormy in Florida, isn't it, Billy, currently? Well, you're right where you are. Are you surviving? You're muted, mate.
I think the hurricane's got his audio.
Yeah, the hurricane's got his audio.
Sorry.
There you are.
Yeah, those sinkholes, man. The hurricane is no big deal. It's just the sinkholes I'm worried about. I almost fell in one the other day.
Crocodiles.
You gotta watch them. Yeah. You gotta watch them. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
so anyway.
Game now. Is my mic muted?
No, you're right. You're right.
Okay, so Vanishing Realms. Vanishing Realms. It was eluding me. I was like, yeah. So the second update is now available. This has been it's been out for a long time, but everyone's been apprehensive, waiting for this update and trying to find out exactly what it brings. So just to confirm, the second major update to Vanishing Realms is finally available. Here are the highlights. So they've now got hard mode with new AI that can parry, dodge, pursue, strike at vulnerabilities, and execute combination moves. The mid-game has expanded to include a number of large new indoor and outdoor playable areas. Two-handed bow aiming is now supported. There is a new two-handed melee weapon which requires some skill to master from the opening screen. It's now available to select and replay from previous checkpoints. There's loads of stuff on here. So there's now classic mode, hard mode. Many previously inert items are now able to be grabbed, burnt, thrown, broken. All these behaviours are now
into that sounds
puzzle design and gameplay. There's literally I'm probably halfway through reading that. So go and check out the big old long list of the major update. I think he's been working on it for a long time. So yeah, now's the time to jump in, guys.
It's really good to see. It's nice to see developers. Well, it's nice to see early access stuff like that working. You know,
It's a beautiful game.
Keeping it going.
It's a really beautiful game, and I stopped playing it. I stopped playing it because I knew there was a big update coming. So I tried it out. Fantastic fighting mechanics in that. Really, really awesome. I love the roleplay aspects of actually having to find a key, physically reaching your key and unlocking doors and holding a torch and lighting up, dark hallways and loads of fun.
Yeah, totally.
I get that mixed up with A Legend of Luca or Lusa.
Yeah, Luca, I tried that this week, and it wasn't bad. I mean,
that's like a totally different style of game, though, isn't it?
Totally different.
Yeah, that one's more rogue-like, and I would say that Vanishing Realms is the more polished game, and for me, like the more deep experience.
Nice one.
Yeah, see, that's what I was looking for. When I got Luca, I was thinking Vanishing Realms. So.
Yeah.
Well, I know Nathan called it out here. One that we had the dev on last week for the podcast was Redout came out. So has anybody got a chance to play that?
You know what? I haven't, because in the team, Greg wanted to do it first because he'd been negotiating with the dev about doing the first review on that. And in fact, it's been out for a while now. Greg hasn't done the review, and so I'm not sure what's happening. I want to have a look at it.
I'm reading good things about it, man. Everybody that plays it seems to really like it. I know for me, I've mentioned it, and here we go, Chris. This is just for you. So back in the day, when I did VR back in the 90s, one of my favorite games to play was Pod Racer, Star Wars Pod Racer in VR. And so, so seeing some of the videos of Redout, it is literally taking me back, and I cannot wait to play that game. Literally. Figuratively taking me back.
Yeah.
So shut up.
I literally want to see you time travel into the past, Don.
Yeah, there you go. I would. That would be great.
Billy and me are bullying Don.
I'm sorry. I say that stuff just as a joke. I'm not.
I know, he's such a dick. But you start me off, Billy. Such an arse.
Yeah. Anyway, no. I seeing the videos of it. I just kept thinking in my mind. I had a nostalgic blast for my old days back in VR, back when we walked uphill just to see 3D stereo. But it was like, oh my god, my favorite game to play back then was Pod Racer. And this this took me back to those days playing Pod Racer.
Dude, I just thought of something like in the future when you're like really old playing VR, you'll like attach one of the motion controllers to like a cane or something and have it.
Yeah, there you go. that way I can shake my virtual cane and tell those damn kids to get off my virtual lawn.
They should make a game like that, like
get out of the damn metaverse, you dirty kids.
Get off my virtual lawn.
Yeah. Great idea, guys. Great idea. Kickstarter right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
do it.
Virtual cane.
Just had a quick look in the questions in the comments. In the comments, and I spotted a question from John Duffy. Bit of a controversial one here now. So he is saying, question for you guys. I've been crucified on Oculus Reddit for suggesting this, but do you think Oculus should make an Xbox or PlayStation like reboot sort of thing?
Well, no, I think he's saying should they make their own like
make a
Steam box. Make a box. Well, I think that John, I think that's going to happen anyway, but it's going to be Microsoft that makes it because I really have a feeling that the new Xbox Scorpio is going to have Oculus Rift compatibility.
I would have thought so.
I'm just throwing my 2 cents in there, but I mean, that's been heavily rumored.
Wasn't there?
I would be shocked.
Wasn't there a rumor that like they were actually working together anyway? So like Oculus were actually working closely with.
They've been working together for a while. Why do you think this is in the Oculus Rift box?
So the Xbox One controller, of course. Like I know that the PlayStation 4 is coming out. Like the newer upgraded version. So. Surely, like the guys at Microsoft have got to be working on something, or it feels like they're a little bit left behind at the moment. So they've got to be doing something.
Yeah, there was even rumors that the new Nintendo NX may work with the headsets. Not to say which one, but I think pretty much Sony is going to kind of light the fire on that when PSVR launches in October. I think we're going to see our first major push towards the VR adoption. I really do. I think that the console VR, and I've been preaching this, mobile and console VR are more accessible to the everyday mainstream user. You know, there's already like millions and millions of PS4s out there in the wild, and obviously you're going to want the new PS4, the PS4 Neo or whatever whatever that code name is. That's really going to do it justice, but it's going to work on just your everyday PS4. So at an entry level of $399, you're going to start seeing VR hit the mainstream, and we're going to start seeing it really, really quickly.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that because people, a lot of people have already going to own half of the tech required, you know, like
Exactly.
with like the Oculus Rift and later the Vive, everyone kind of thought, oh, we're going to have to upgrade our PCs for this, you know, whereas they've already got the kit ready to go.
Well, and not just upgrade the PCs. I mean, you're going to have to upgrade them heavily. I mean, if you really want that good VR experience, I mean, even for a base level VR PC ready, I mean, PC VR ready system, you're looking at a minimum of about $1,000 plus the headset. You know, so I mean, the entry level for PC VR, for high-end VR as we do it, you know, you're looking at $1,500 to $2,000. Where the entry level for console VR, you're looking at under $1,000 for the whole kit.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a little bit sneaky how they've kind of like sold it as being such a low price, but then you have to buy the camera separate. I think that's bullshit.
Well, you got the two different bundles though. So you've got the $399, which is going to get you the headset, and then you've got the $499, which is going to get you the headset, the PS Move controllers, and the camera.
I think I'd be half interested. You know, if I had a PlayStation just sitting around here now, I think I'd be 100% on board. You know.
Yeah, I do. I've got mine ready. I just didn't pre-order like a dummy. I didn't put in my pre-order.
Yeah, I wish I would have. You could have turned around and sold it even right after.
Probably could have, yeah.
Made a massive profit. But
the only thing that I think they're going to have issues with, and Harv here in the chat has kind of hit the nail on the head with that, is he says the problem with PSVR is going to be their motion controls, and that Sony does not have any analog sticks on their controllers. So you can get the stick attachment, kind of like the old Wiimote, you know, had the navigation controller, and you can do that, but then you're limited to one motion control.
I don't know. I think there is the actual kind of solution for me. It'd be like, I don't know if you guys have played Vivecraft, how you don't really use the right stick to turn around. You literally just turn around, and you pull the trigger to walk. You know, so literally.
I mean, I could see that.
So if you pulled the left trigger, you could kind of just go anywhere and.
Well, and I think
turn.
Part of that though is also the tracking of the controllers themselves. I mean, now granted, I've never played it on PS3 or PS4, but you guys know I toyed around with the PS Move service for quite a while. You know, for at least a good 2 or 3 weeks before Gaspar let me borrow the Vive, and the tracking was not that solid on those controllers.
So it was called.
Included. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm done, man. I'm done. I was just saying it seems occluded.
Yeah, it was very, very occluded. I mean, you know, so I mean, in order to get that 360-degree tracking, you know, if you've only got the one PlayStation 4 camera, you know, how's it going to track you when you turn around? So you're going to be kind of relegated to those standing 180 experiences.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know if they beefed up or made the experience at Best Buy better, but I mean, like, for games that you're just sitting down, which is a lot of games. I mean, like, you think PSVR or PlayStation 4 owners aren't just automatically going to be like, just want to play room scale with like motion controllers. That could be.
No, that's true. Something
they could improve on, but like there'll be plenty of games where it's just like a cockpit game or one you could sit down and play. But like Eve, for me, it was great. I don't know if I showed it in the video, but I did turn around a lot and lean around just to see how the tracking was.
No, but I'm not talking about the tracking of the headset, Billy. I'm talking about the tracking of the controllers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't. Sure, the headset's going to allow you to turn a full 360 if you want, because I think it has LEDs on the back.
Mm-hmm.
But the controllers, the minute you turn away, so say you're doing a standing experience, the minute you turn away completely and those controllers are occluded by your body, how's the camera going to see them?
Yeah. Well, do they have a lot of standing games that are coming out? Because the demos they had, they didn't have any when I was there.
It was all cockpit. By looking
Yeah,
at
it was
it,
all sit-down stuff.
It's all sitting
And maybe that's because they didn't want people to get sick or fall over, but...
Yeah, maybe they're going to change it like you know, Oculus, you know, because originally Oculus was going to be, you know, one camera, and you know, you didn't really need the two cameras. Maybe they're going to bring another camera out like for PSVR. Just I don't know.
I'd like to see it. I really would. I mean, because you know, just over the last few weeks, just getting up and moving around in the Vive has showed me that there is really a place for that. I mean, getting up out of the chair and not doing everything as a sitting experience.
Health benefits as well, you know. Just that's probably the only exercise I really get these days, man. You know.
No, I agree. I kind of alluded to that. I did a video last week on Fruit Ninja, and I mean, by the time I went through 3 or 4 rounds of Fruit Ninja, man, my heart was pounding. I mean, I was sweating, and you know, the next day I woke up, I was sore. I mean, it is a workout.
Huh.
No, I agree. I can't really laugh because I'm exactly the same. I think the only exercise I've been getting in the last few days, at least, was Onward.
Yeah, I think you've had about 12 hours exercise in about 2 days.
Well, yeah, and my back's killing me, man. It's absolutely killing me. It's all this twisting and jerking about. It's just, yeah, it's doing me in. I'm old, man. Too old for this. I'm getting too old for this shit. Yeah, cool, man. So are we like out of topics? I think we're doing okay there. I mean,
I think we're just having a conversation, man. We're just chilling.
Having a conversation.
We're kicking it old school right now. You know, we're off the agenda.
We probably have about 20 beers in us by now, though, being like rowdy.
Nervous.
Well, I was gonna say if we were kicking it old school, for sure we would. But you know.
What are you drinking there, John?
It would be Bud Light with lime.
Bud Light with lime. That's practically lemonade. You can give that to babies.
Much. Yeah, well, it was, you know, the only thing that was cheap and on sale at the convenience store. So, I have my 10th wedding anniversary coming up this week. You know, completely not VR related, but so trying to save a little money.
Oh, congrats!
Take the wife somewhere special for once. So,
a virtual date.
Yeah, there you go. That'd be great. No, I mean, well, actually, kind of speaking of the wife in VR, she finally got in.
Great.
Stacy, yeah, she's been wanting to, you know, she's been sitting here for 2 years watching me do VR, and you know, because of the limitations of the Oculus Rift and her glasses not fitting in the Oculus Rift, she got to try the Vive, and she absolutely loved it.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Great.
What was her favorite experience so far? What have you put through?
So far, the favorite experiences for her and the kids have been Job Simulator, and actually a favorite experience of all of ours this last week was Waltz of the Wizard.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, Waltz of the Wizard was fantastic. Well, I mean, it's done by Aldine Dynamics, and Aldine has been doing stuff since the DK1 days. And one thing that I found really interesting, and I think Chris, you recently went back and took a look at Asunder. Kind of like when we started the website, kind of even before Asunder. Did anybody ever play Trial of the Rift Drifter back on the DK1?
That one struck me because it was the first VR title that had interaction through nodding or shaking your head.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, you may or may not know this, but there was a recent update to Waltz of the Wizard, and it is now one of the hidden secrets. So you pick up the little mallets and you play the little tune that the ball tells you to, and it takes you into a new version of Trial of the Rift Drifter that is incorporated into Waltz of the Wizard, and it is absolutely the coolest part of that demo.
Yeah, I now remember what you're talking about, and I have been in that part. And it is
you
good.
Pick up the mirror and you see the people around you.
Yeah,
and,
it's quite creepy.
It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic how they. And you know, I just thought it was kind of like a nice homage that they incorporated their very first virtual reality demo into their latest virtual reality demo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very cool. Very cool indeed. I like those guys. I think Asunder was quite ahead of its time. Came out on DK1, I think.
Yeah, it was.
I remember that.
Once again, you had to kind of nod at the guy, and you know, you had to actually use.
Yeah, very, very good.
Yeah, they really used the interaction of the sensors with the game, and that it was the kind of I really want to say that was kind of one of my very first real oh shit moments of presence. I was literally present in that game.
I've got to say, and you know, I probably wouldn't admit this usually, but that Trial of the Rift Drifter was a game that actually gave me nightmares, and that's why I remember it so well. Because I know it sounds really stupid. It was the thing about it was the people that you met in the game were like these sort of gods, and what they were saying to you was like, you know, you've upset the quantum world because virtual reality isn't actually, you know, you live in a virtual world and virtual reality is actually taking you to other destinations and you're upsetting the space-time continuum, and it was all sort of vaguely believable in a kind of pseudo-scientific way. And then they said, right, well, you're here now, you know, you take your headset off and you'll be here forever, and you're in this cage with a skeleton. And I just went to take my headset off and thought, just for a second, what if that was true? Just for a second, and it was just a horrible feeling, and it actually gave me a nightmare. That night I had a nightmare about the game, which just goes to show how VR can make you just a little bit crazy.
It's really powerful.
It is very powerful, yeah.
I think that super excited for like, you know, I think one of the things that we are sort of lacking a little bit is like super immersive experiences, you know, like with advanced believable AI, you know, there's literally right there, and you know, taking you through like deep and meaningful stories, and I can't wait for that. I can't wait.
Kind of along that realms. One thing that I was really looking forward to is that Technolust is getting touch controller support. So kind of going deeper down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And also a lot of new content. He's adding a lot of new content to the game. So, I mean, Technolust was one of the first ones back in the day for me that I kind of felt that connection with, that deeper, you know.
Yeah, I remember the demo. It never did much for me, to be honest. I'd hate to disagree with you on this one, but a lot of people really liked Technolust, and I don't know, it didn't really grab me, weirdly. And there's a heck of a lot of hype with it, though.
I think it's the character modeling and the AI that really got me. If you haven't played the full release, you might give it another look, Chris.
Yeah, I might just jump in there and have
another
look at it.
On that either. Just the demo.
I actually backed that one fully as when it was you know, very early Kickstarter, and I got the full release. You know, I could play it on my DK2, and it works with Revive, but I've never actually had a chance to play it since I've owned a Vive. Like, you know, other than reviving it, and I'm too wrapped up in motion control games at the moment, and you know, unfortunately, I've never actually got very far into it because it looks beautiful, and you know, I really did like it, and I waited and I waited and I waited, and you know, I ended up cancelling my CV1 in the end. So you know.
Yeah, understandable. I was very, very close. I mean, yeah. You know how it is. Well, I sort of flip-flop between my two headsets now so wildly. I mean, since Onward's come out, I can't imagine not having a Vive, and I'm seriously questioning why I've got the Rift. But then, you know, I'll start playing Project Cars again, and I'll be picking up the Rift every night. So
yeah.
Sort of
Same thing since I've been borrowing it. Now, one thing, and I don't know if this is widely known, but one thing that is really awesome if you are switching back and forth between the Vive and the Rift is that you can plug the Rift into the Vive breakout box, and it works perfectly.
Yeah, I haven't tried that.
Yes, really. Yes. Yeah, just want to make sure that the Vive breakout box is plugged into a USB 3. And literally, yeah, I can hot swap between the two headsets just like that.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I'm just a bit nervous about
That's pretty neat.
Putting, you know...
That's pretty neat.
It's pretty
pretty neat. It's
putting
neat.
cables in and out of this this box. I mean, I don't want to screw it up, you know. But then again, I guess I don't want to screw my graphics card.
I've got it kind of mounted to the top of my PC case, so I've got it kind of taped down, so it doesn't move. And you know, all it is really, I mean, I started thinking about it. All it really is a repeater. You know, it's just an HDMI and USB repeater. You know, so obviously you're not plugging anything to the power port, you know, for the Rift, so you're just using the HDMI and the USB. But
well, yeah, you know, HDMI cables, they're really good about being plugged in a whole bunch of times.
Well, this is true. This is true. But I don't know. It just made it really easy to hot swap between the two headsets.
Nice one.
There's one thing that I was going to mention as well. We're pretty much getting quite close to the full release of the updated version of Skyrim. So I found some articles, saying that they are going to be supporting virtual reality fully. Nothing solid from Bethesda, but there was an article saying that they worded it as the next Skyrim will be supported in VR. So I don't know whether the people writing the article got it confused as the next Elder Scrolls. So I'll try and find the actual article itself.
Hopefully Skyrim remastered, because that's coming out fairly soon, right?
That's what I'm saying. So that will be updated to the creation engine. The same engine as Fallout 4. That's creeping upon us now. So if they have thrown in a surprise for VR, that's just going to be crazy, because that is one of those deep games. That is one of them deep games with. I remember it just on the DK2, just looking at some of the characters and feeling connected to them because you've been on the journeys with them. That's crazy.
That's the kind of, you were talking about AI and stuff earlier. I wonder if, we talked about this before, but I wonder if that's what Bethesda is talking about when they're what we want to do with the next Elder Scrolls is it will be years before technology's caught up for us to do it. I wonder if they're talking eye tracking, motion controls, everything, and AI as well for the storytelling. And I don't know how they could do all that, but I wonder if that's what they're hinting towards, is implementing some form of AI into the next Elder Scrolls game. But
yeah, they certainly will. I don't think. I think that what they were saying when they were talking about it was the proper next Elder Scrolls, as in the next one in the series, not a remake. The technology we have available to us now as consumers isn't anywhere near what they're anticipating is going to be the requirement for virtual reality. So I'm guessing some next level stuff. But in the short term, I think just being able to feel like you are in these environments, able to pick up and manipulate the objects, analyze stuff that you found, and then maybe have a rucksack that you can just drop stuff into, and
yeah. You could already pick up so much stuff in Skyrim. Just imagine if you could reach and just pick it up anyway, with your own hand. That'd be nuts.
Yeah, and I think it's just the Z key, isn't it? on a keyboard, you press the Z key and you can pick stuff up. And I used to spend hours just rearranging my house because I'm a geek.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But even
the books in the shelf,
or whatever. I think with actual proper motion controls though, say you've gone out with your lab style bow in a bush, there's some geezer just execute him from afar with an arrow, creep over to him and literally with your hands pick up his hands and drag him off into a bush. So you're keeping your stealth elements going on and just literally just hiding bodies and creeping around. You could be any kind of play style you want, and it's even a crossbow they've got with the Dawn Guard update. Proper manually reloading your crossbow bolts and I don't even know. Too much good stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So maybe we should ask the audience. Do they have any hopes? Am I just dreaming, or I'll try and locate the article. But any thoughts on the possibilities of the updated version of Skyrim to be in VR? That'd be interesting to see what you guys think on it.
Any Bethesda devs out there that can just shed some light on that? It'd be awesome if there was just somebody just came in. He's oh yeah, this is Todd Howard. I was just jumping in. Watching your guys' podcast.
Checking you out.
I'm gonna source that article just while we're talking amongst ourselves, and I'll upload it in the chat and see what you guys can make from it, and But yeah, just carry on talking amongst yourselves. I'll just try and grab that now. Skyrim.
Nice one.
Yeah, Nathan says you just need to look up the interview of Todd Howard about Skyrim and VR.
Okay.
And I think Martin 2142 is saying he hopes he can play Alien Isolation with proper VR support at some point. I know there's actually a couple of what's the word I'm looking for here? Petitions that have been started over the last couple of weeks that I've been seeing pop up on our forum and over on Reddit, trying to pressure Sega for proper VR support in Alien Isolation, and that led me to an article where they have alluded that may actually happen.
Wow. That would be good. I mean, it was really well, even with the sort of clunky implementation that was hacked, from an option that was left in Alien Isolation, it was still bloody good, so to have that done properly would be quite something else, I think.
Well, and the fact that they actually use that as a showpiece at trade shows, yeah. It's like you go and you show it off as being like something technically fantastic for the Rift, and then the game comes out and you don't support it.
Yeah, it's crazy they did that. So, yeah, is it still in there? Can you still?
You still can if you have a DK2, yeah.
Oh, okay, so DK2.
You can't because the only thing that's holding it back is that it still requires the old extended mode.
The old SDK. Oh, it's extended mode. Right.
Yeah, it's extended. And it was like on the Oculus SDK 0.4. So
that's like Dying Light too. 0.5.
Yeah, Dying Light, same thing. Yeah.
Dying Light, that was so beautiful in VR too.
Yeah. Oh, Dying Light was fantastic, and now I think Dying Light though, Billy, you can use the Live OVR wrapper that I wrote about to possibly play Dying Light. Yeah. As long as it didn't require extended mode. So
I think it required
extended mode, then yeah, there's just.
I think it did. I'm just going to quickly share my screen, if that's okay.
Yep. But if you play a video off another channel, it might flag copyright.
No videos. Right, so you guys should be able to see. Can you see that?
I see it. Yeah, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll get copyrighted.
Okay.
That's amazing. It's amazing what'll be copyrighted.
Yeah.
Okay, completely aside. Okay, so I have a Capital One credit card. And you know how you can put your image on the card? I tried to put my VR gamer dude head on my card, and it came back, and they wouldn't let me have that because they said it was copyrighted material, and I don't have that copyrighted. Just saying.
Just saying. Right, so this on here, this is from techradar.com. There's a little segment on this a bit further down from an interview that they had with an employee from Bethsoft. But it says on here, he said that it takes AAA developers at least a year to have a tangible product and even longer to create something as immersive as Fallout. But here's the other bombshell Breton dropped. The next Skyrim is in development for the HTC Vive as we speak. And then it says, okay, not exactly the next game in the Elder Scrolls series per se, but according to Breton, there are a few of those really big open world games in development as we speak. Of course, this, for me, alludes to Skyrim, like Skyrim remastered.
I was going to say, I thought
maybe online as well.
The remaster was supposed to have VR support.
And it says the game that you want to come back to time and time again, the ones with hundreds of hours gameplay and hundreds of side quests, are in the oven baking right now. However, when pressed for more specifics, what the names of the games are, what publishers he's been working for, and when the VR version of Skyrim was coming, Breton played it cool, leaving it as simple. They're on the way. So that's a bit of a mind blow. Do you know what I mean?
That's exciting.
Yeah. Right. How do I stop sharing?
I just hit stop sharing.
Where's that button? Oh yeah,
that's really exciting stuff, though.
Yeah. So that was the source. For me, someone at Bethsoft VR has confirmed it. Not the next Elder Scrolls per se, which leads me to think it's got to be Skyrim remastered, right? It's got to be.
Oh man, it needs to be. I tell you.
Yeah, but then what happens if I've just got you all hyped up and then like, do you know what I mean? Then it don't come.
Pitchforks, Wayne. Pitchforks, torches.
Oh, yeah. Very much so. Very much so.
Daggerfall in VR.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Can you imagine, like, just walking through a dungeon, holding your torch and that? You got like marauders and bandits, and you're just skulking around and that, like, oh shit, they're close, I better kill my light, you know, and then cowering with your dagger ready to shank one when they come around the corner. Just, you know.
Hopefully the EMBs would work too, because like I've got my Skyrim, like I really like it right now, and like all my dungeons, I've got like the darkness tuned down, so like you have to carry a torch in the dungeons, and like
there'll be mods. There's going to be mods.
So nice.
Well, with regards to ENBs, I mean, Fallout 4 has got ENBs, right? Like that Boris fella actually went, because it was DX9 specific, wasn't it, back in the day? It was only DX9, and then I think because of Fallout and I think it was Fallout and GTA 5, they went back and revisited the code and actually found some way to apply it to DX11 titles. So I think you will be able to slap an EMB on there if your rig can handle it. I mean, I'm a bit worried about like getting that running, looking nice, having draw distances, and keeping your frame rate high. I'm a little bit worried. It's super sampling as well, man.
Yeah, GTA 5 is already getting to that point where all the graphic mods are getting pretty crazy. So I can barely run that game anyway, like on ultra or high.
I think if a big game, well, when Fallout comes, we know that's confirmed. That's definitely coming. But if Skyrim comes out, I'm just gonna get a crazy ass rig, man.
Give me your old rig, then I'll buy it from you.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm just gonna go mental. Just like get some NASA shit.
Buying workstation cards, $4,000 workstation graphics cards.
Yeah. I saw a Linus video actually about $4,000 graphics cards, and apparently they're no better for gaming than a Titan X. In fact, some of them were performing worse. It's only for things like if you work at Pixar and you're doing like proper rendering. But yeah, for gaming, I think it was actually in Crysis 3 getting 104 frames per second, whereas the GTX was getting 105. The Titan X was getting 105 frames per second. Quite interesting. Sorry, I went a bit of a tangent there, guys.
Tangent away, dude.
I better sit back in my chair and just pipe down.
No, it's good, man. It's good. Good stuff.
Oh. So, are any of you guys anywhere near as excited for Skyrim as I am, and Fallout?
I am. It's been so long coming. I'm sort of like,
Okay, and this is where I'm going to take a lot of shit for saying this. I've never played Skyrim.
You're going to be fucking mind blown. You're going to be mind blown.
No, okay. I've played Skyrim up to the first village, like past the intro with the dragon and stuff like that. But I've never.
The first 5 minutes.
Yeah, played the first. Roughly, I've played like 10 minutes of Skyrim, and I've never touched it again.
Well, the story is Game of Thrones.
No. Now there's a reason. There's a reason for that. I got Skyrim right around the time that I got a DK1, and I only could think about playing it in VR, and it was to that point where I said, okay, I'm going to wait until I can play this in VR, and then Vorpix hit, and everybody was doing the Vorpix thing, and so I got it all situated with Vorpix, and I tried Vireo, and but I could never get it to be just right, and I always had this feeling that eventually Bethesda was going to come out with a Skyrim in VR. So I've been waiting.
I'm with you on that. That's exactly
I've been
how
waiting because it's such an epic game, and I played the hell out of Oblivion. I put in so many hours in Oblivion, it wasn't even funny. So I really wanted this to be special. So I'm saving myself for Skyrim and VR, man.
Yeah.
Fair enough, man. I
was
that point.
disappointed with Skyrim's story compared to Oblivion, and I know Oblivion's not like, crazy, but it was still like. I had a lot more fun playing Oblivion, I think.
Oh my god, I played Oblivion, Knights of the Nine, I mean all of the different DLCs.
They had the best expansion pack of like it was like an entire game.
Yeah, it really was.
Expansion
was
like Shivering Isles.
Yeah.
Shivering Isles, yeah.
What an amazing expansion.
With Chaos.
Like,
what was it? Mania and
Mania, yes. Yeah,
crazy.
But no, I mean, like I said, so it isn't that I don't want to play Skyrim. I want to play Skyrim more than anything in the world. but I want to play it in VR, and I want to play it in proper VR.
Yeah, fair enough. I can't fault you there. And even back in the day, that was such a good experience. And I just hope I've not overhyped it. I worry that like I'm not going to live long enough to see these games. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I'm like, I hope I don't die before fucking this game comes out. I swear.
It's all right.
I drive
you
safely to
get
work
up in the morning. I'm going to say something dark now. Only Billy will laugh at this. I'm going to say, if you wake up in the morning and Don's still alive, you're all right.
Yeah,
that's cold, man.
No, it's like Shane McGowan, you know, Shane McGowan from what is he, from the Pogues, isn't he? He's still alive, so I figure I'm all right. You know, Keith Richards.
You know, I've lived far longer than I ever thought I would. I mean, I cannot believe that in 13 days I will be 46 years old, guys. So.
Jeez Louise, man.
Yeah. Oh, at least I've got someone backing me up, man. I've got Reckoner VR. He's saying, I always get scared I'm going to die before new stuff comes out.
Just like, as soon as you find out about something, you just automatically like, oh god, I don't want to die.
Better drive safely, guys. Seatbelts, double check that shit. So,
double check.
Proper. Oh, there's an Arctic coming. I better be ready to duck. You know,
yeah, just watch out for buses.
I'm not quite that bad.
Yeah, just watch that heart rate and the vibe. You know.
Yeah, watch the heart rate. And onward.
Yeah, for sure, man.
All right, cool, guys. That was really a good episode. I really enjoyed having Anders on earlier talking about that. I love talking about FPS. I love complaining about. I love the fact we're winning in the fight about locomotion. So it's nice to talk about that as well.
People are coming around. People are getting the
yeah, people are coming around. And it's a good episode, and it's lovely talking to you guys. Should we wrap it up for this week and
yeah, sure.
jump back on next Sunday? Well, I think, it's been an absolutely fantastic episode. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so massive shout out to Anders for taking the time out of his schedule. He's a busy guy right now. He's got shit to do, and he came on and he answered some of our questions. So thank you so much, Anders, for coming on. He's legit, proper legit. I'm confident that he's gonna be bringing out a decent game. Onwards a really good game as well, but definitely I wouldn't be just dismissing Virtual Warfighter because there's definitely a good game in there in the making.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great stuff. All right then.
Someone share that game with me so I can play it.
I'll share it with you. No problem, man. We'll sort you out. All right, guys. We'll call it there. Thanks so much for watching.
Thank you, guys.
VRSpies Exposed, episode 32, and we are out.
Forum.vr